a lot of stuff to discuss in the National Football League this weekend. I'm interested in seeing what Green Bay does in Denver. I'm interested in seeing what, if anything, does Baltimore have left, with what they've got on their schedule. There's a lot of things to discuss about the NFL this weekend with the games coming up. Make no mistake about it. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens. But I got to tell you, for some teams, it's a reason to be excited. Is this the end for Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and the Kansas City Chiefs? If the players were to begin today, they wouldn't be in it. They've got a chance in some people's eyes still. But the Kansas City Chiefs host a home game this Sunday against the Los Angeles Chargers. We don't know what's going to happen there. Buffalo is going up against New England in Foxborough. That's going to be interesting. What kind of message is New England going to send? Are they ready to claim the AFC East? They bust Buffalo up their first go-round. Stephon Diggs, a former Buffalo Bill, had about 10 or 11 receptions for 146 yards. What's that going to be like? We got to wait and see that. So that's going to be really interesting to touch on. But what's Drake May going to do? Who's going to be the coach of the year? Is it going to be Vrabel or Ben Johnson? What's Chicago going to do? Again, what's Shedeur Sanders going to do against Chicago? In Chicago, where the temperature is expected to be like 10 degrees. It's supposed to feel like 2. It's with the wind chill factor added to that. Even in the city of Chicago, historically bad weather this time of year, it's anticipated to be maybe the absolute worst conditions to play a football field under in Chicago's history. I don't know if that's true or not because I remember the Fog Bowl and stuff like that, but it's going to be pretty bad. So all of those things are things that you have to think about. All of those things are things that you have to contemplate. I can't wait for Sunday night when the Detroit Lions visit the Los Angeles Rams. I think that's going to be incredibly compelling and interesting. We'll see what's going to happen with that as well. There's a lot to look at too. And oh, by the way, Thursday night football and Tampa looking the way that it looked and losing the game that it lost. Ladies and gentlemen, you want to put in perspective the state of affairs that exist. And Sean, you know what I'm going to call for. I'm going to call for Todd Bowles talking to his team or talking to the media last night after the Tampa Bay Buccaneers lost this game. Let me know when you have that sound so I can play it for our audience because I got news for y'all. Forget about what I'm going to say. We know that Tampa Bay lost the game 29-28 to the Atlanta Falcons. We know that Kyle Pitts Sr. looked like the greatest tight end that ever played football, the way he was busting their living ass, okay? We know that Kirk Cousins, off the scrap heap, having been benched last year in favor of Michael Penix Jr., and what, with the $100 million contract, what Kirk Cousins wasn't able to manufacture as a quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons. He goes out on the field last night, and look what he does against them. 373 yards, 30 of 44, 3 touchdowns, not a single interception, and only sacked once. Meanwhile, Baker Mayfield gets sacked 5 times. He throws 2 touchdowns and an interception. You're wondering what the hell is going on. Mike Evans was back in the lineup, okay? You've got Ibuka and the rest of the crew. You still need Godwin and all of this stuff, but the bottom line is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and their defense coached by Todd Bowles, this is supposed to be looking like they looked last night. Nevertheless, with a 28-14 lead in the 4th quarter, they lost this game. Tampa Bay had Atlanta in like a 3rd and 28 situation. And Atlanta ended up getting a first down. One throw to Pitts and another to Sills. I mean, you got to be kidding me. That's not what we anticipate from a Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. But nevertheless, it's what we've seen. And now they've gone from being one of the top teams in the NFL. If Carolina wins, then guess what? You got a situation where they're in first place. Now, they play them twice over the last 4 weeks of the season. So Tampa Bay still controls its own destiny at this particular moment in time. And the Panthers do have a game against Seattle, if I remember correctly, which one would anticipate they'd lose. But I got news for you. It's not good. Not by a damn sight. It's not good for Tampa Bay to find themselves in this situation. And if you don't believe me, listen to their coach, Todd Bowles, and what he had to say, because he is not a happy man. Listen to this.
It's inexcusable. You don't make excuses. You got to care enough where the shit hurts. You got to care enough where the hurts. It got to mean something to you. It's more than a job. It's your livelihood. How well do you know your job? How well can you do your job? You can't sugarcoat that. It was inexcusable, and there's no answer for it. There's no excuse for it.
I've known Todd Bowles for years. Haven't spoken to him in a while, but I've known him since he's been a coach with the New York Jets. And I know people in the NFL that have known Todd Bowles for decades. We've never, ever heard him talk like that. He doesn't talk like that. Not privately, not publicly. He doesn't talk like that. One could easily argue that's a coach feeling the heat. That's a coach sensing that his job is on the line. And my point is, I don't blame him if he does feel that way, because it's got to be on the line. If you're the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, what are you supposed to feel like if your team had a 28-14 fourth quarter lead at home and you end up losing for the fifth time in 6 games after a 6-2 start? What is anybody supposed to feel when you've lost back-to-back home games and they were to New Orleans, who's going nowhere, and Atlanta, who's going nowhere? What are you supposed to feel when Kyle Pitts shreds you for 11 catches, 166 yards? Did y'all know that Pitt became the first tight end with at least 150 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns in a game since Hall of Famer Shannon Sharpe did it in 1996? Did you know that? Bijan Robinson had 175 yards from scrimmage and a touchdown. Where's the defense for that? And I told you about Cousins completing pass of 14 yards to Pitts and 21 yards on a 4th and 14 to David Sills to set up the game-winning field goal. You're looking at Tampa Bay right now. What the hell? Where's the defense? See, in Texas, with DeMeco Ryans, you have a head coach who became a head coach because he was a stout defensive coordinator. So he's living up to his signature, and you truly, truly appreciate that because that's what you want to see. What you don't want to see is a coach get a head coaching job, and then the very thing that enabled them to get a head coaching opportunity because of what they were elite at suddenly evaporates and disappears, and you can't find it. You can't have it. DeMeco Ryans has the Houston Texans defense looking like one of the top defenses, if not the top defense in the National Football League. Todd Bowles has been renowned for his defensive brilliance as a coordinator, but you're the head coach now, and this team can't stop anybody. What the hell is going on? It's not good. It's not good at all. So there's a lot to say about that. And I'm going to get to the phones right now a little bit early to make sure I do that with y'all. 888-MAD-DOG-6 is the number to call. This 888-MAD-DOG-6, 888-623-3646. To the phones we go. Let's go to Warrior in Texas. You're live with Stephen A. What's up, man?
Stephen A., been following your career back before your ill-fated television show, which I quite frankly thought was pretty good. But the take that you just had on Moore was the absolute weakest take you have ever had.
Okay.
I don't give a damn about him. I don't care what you can say about the P word being undefeated. It's undefeated if you're weak. Stalking is a serious charge. Entering her home after she had already gone to the university is a serious charge. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not going to say anything about adultery because, people who live in glass houses shouldn't cast a stone, but I'm 64 right now, so that phase of my life is beyond me. I don't care about him. I care about her.
Time out. I'm listening to you, Warrior. I didn't hang up. Can you hear me? I'm listening to you.
Oh, I can hear you. I need to slow down a little bit.
All right, let me say this to you. You just finished saying, I want you to consider a point that you just made. And you can call my take weak. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm not offended by that because maybe it was. Maybe you needed me to come out and be more engaging with condemnation. Maybe I would be more of that way if I didn't hear words like suicide being uttered and stuff like that. So I'm thinking about certain things and I don't want to go there. But I will say this to you. You just finished saying people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones, but you're 64, so that's beyond you, right? Did you just say that? Did you just say that, sir?
Yes, I did. But
okay. Hold on. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm saying that, okay, that's fine. He's 25 years younger. I'm not excusing him. What he did was inexcusable. What he did can't be excused in any way. Married with 3 kids? What the hell are you doing? What the hell are you doing? And then messing with a subordinate at that? And then violating your contract when you know that is exactly the kind of thing that causes for an automatic dismissal with cause, what the hell is wrong? It was a dumb, stupid, irresponsible, selfish thing to do. There is no doubt about that. What I'm saying, however, is there's no but to it. But when you hear you're 39, you got 3 kids under 7 years of age, and the brother's thinking about ending his life because this is how horrible it's been for him and stuff like that, all I chose to do was watch my tone, because I'm talking about something incredibly serious, and there are other family members that are going to be affected by all of this, not just him. So that's why I chose to address it that way in terms of the tenor that I used. But I don't disagree with what you say in terms of your concern is really not about him because he was incredibly irresponsible. And if I didn't hear the word suicide, maybe I would have felt the same.